everybody, it's Hannah. Today I'm just going to do a tag, kind of get back into the groove, and yeah. So I am going to do the mid-year freakout tag, and I was tagged by Books with Nahid. I love her channel, you should go check it out. And then the original creator is that Cami, or is that Chammy? I don't know how to pronounce her name, I'm sorry. But yeah, so let's get started. So the first question is the best book you've read in 2018. And I would have to say, I mean, it's obvious if you've seen anything that I have done recently, if you've seen any of my videos, The Bear and the Nightingale is 100%, by Catherine Arden, is 100% my most favorite book ever that I've ever read. But for those of you who have seen that and did know the answer to this question, I'm going to say something else. I would have to say there's two. So, man, I have such a hard time coming up with, like, the best books. So I would say The Poppy War and Every Heart a Doorway. Those are so freaking good. Oh, my goodness. The Poppy War blew me away by the world building, and Every Heart a Doorway blew me away by the plot and the premise. It was all very good. So all three of those books are my favorite. I can't pick. Probably The Bear and the Nightingale is the first one, but the rest are also great. The best sequel you've read so far in 2018? I'm not quite sure. I have read a lot of sequels. Maybe The Girl in the Tower, which is the sequel to The Bear and the Nightingale, or Down Among the Sticks and Bones, which is the sequel to Every Heart a Doorway. The two books that I just talked about, they were really good. I really liked Down Among the Sticks and Bones. It was like a prequel to Every Heart a Doorway. I got to see some characters that I really adored, and I got to learn more about them, and I really liked that. And then The Girl in the Tower is just the sequel. It's like just about Vasya trying to make it on her own, and it was just a really great story. New release you haven't read yet but want to? Probably The Wicked Deep. Still haven't read that one. Let's see. I want to read the one about the kingdom with the mermaids. What's it called? Once Upon a Kingdom? No, I don't know. Yeah, I think it is. It might be called Once Upon a Kingdom. No, I don't know. That one is really good, or it looks really good. Let's see. What else? I've been keeping up with a lot of the new releases, so I'm very proud of myself for that. But so far, there hasn't been any that I can think of from the top of my head, except for The Wicked Deep and the other one that I mentioned, which I already forgot what it was. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year? Probably, there's two. So probably Winter of the Witch, which is the third book to the Winter Night trilogy, which is The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden, and then also Muse of Nightmares by Laini Taylor. I loved Strange the Dreamer so much, and I can't wait to, like, figure out what's gonna happen and, you know, where the story's gonna go. So I'm really excited for that. I don't actually know when it's coming out yet, though, so we'll see. Biggest disappointment? Oh, man. Probably A Court of Mist and Fury. I just didn't like it. It was hard for me to read. I think it's Sarah J. Maas. I think it's her writing that I don't like. I don't know. I didn't really like the characters either. I didn't really like Reese, even after, like, he was redeeming himself. I don't know if I couldn't get past the first. My daughter's giggling. It's cute. I don't know if it's because I couldn't get past the first book, or, like, get past his character in the first book, but I'm not sure how I felt about him. So yeah, A Court of Mist and Fury was my biggest disappointment. I thought that it might be, like, I don't know, a little bit better than the first one, but I just was unable to get into it. I don't know why. So biggest surprise would probably be Every Heart a Doorway by Shannon McGuire. I loved that book. I never picked it up, mainly because I thought it was a middle grade novel. And so I went into it, like, thinking that I was going to change the game up for me a little bit and read something different, but that was not the case. And I really liked the premise, and the premise could have definitely been a middle grade, but It was so dark, and like it took so many dark and twisted turns that I wasn't expecting. And it's not a middle grade. Don't read it thinking that it is. I don't know why I thought that, but I was in for a treat because it was like a really dark, twisted young adult fantasy novel, which is kind of what I stick to. But it was very good, and I was extremely surprised. It was so great. So, favorite new author or new to you, or favorite debut author or like a debut to you. So, if it's the first you've ever read of them. One being R.F. Kuang, who wrote The Poppy War, and Catherine Arden, who wrote The Bird and the Nightingale. Those two were both my favorite. And then a person who has been writing for quite some time now, but I have never read any of their books, is Shannon Maguire. New fictional crush, maybe Morozko from The Bird and the Nightingale. I love him. He's so mysterious and dreamy, and I love him. I also really like the boyfriend from The Hate You Give. He was really sweet. He was just he was honestly, like, he made mistakes, definitely, but he was like a good, sweet boyfriend. Let's see, newest favorite character. I really liked Star from The Hate You Give. I thought she was very strong. I liked her family. She went through a lot, and, you know, she was so strong throughout that whole, I don't want to say spoilers, but throughout the book, she was just a constant rock, I guess, for herself, because I felt like she really couldn't rely on anyone else because she was, like, keeping things secret, and there were so many different people in her ear telling her what to do, and that's just, I admire her for how she handled her situation. A book that made me cry. Let's see. So the first book of the year that made me cry, it's really hard for me to answer because I literally cry at every single book that I read. But I would have to say 1000 Splendid Suns. I forgot the author's name. I'll link it up here. That book made me cry so hard throughout the whole thing. I mean, it was probably one of the hardest books I've ever had to get through. There is trigger warnings for abuse, domestic violence, rape, and I think that covers it. And then a book that made you happy. Oh my goodness, all of them. It doesn't matter what book I read. Except for like a few, like, okay, so I'll say like at the beginning of a book, I get really, really giddy. It doesn't really matter what book I'm reading. I just get really excited to read them. And then sometimes I've only been disappointed by, I think, the Sarah J. Maas books that I've read. So except for those, like every book that I've read or listened to on audiobook is very good. And I thoroughly enjoy all of them. Favorite book to film adaptation you saw this year? Alias Grace. It's not a movie, but it's a TV show on, can't remember. I think that's on Netflix. Very good. And it was honestly, the acting in the show was superb. If you've read Alias Grace, or even if you haven't, I would suggest watching the show. I really enjoyed it. It was very good. Favorite review you've written this year? I would have to say The Cruel Prince because I still enjoyed the book, but out of all the books that I have reviewed in the past, that one was the most negative. I still gave it a 3.75, so it's not that negative. I was really worried about talking about it because I didn't want to make anyone upset, and also it was my first and only actually kind of negative review. I still liked it, and I'm going to read the next one because I want to see where it goes. Most beautiful book you've bought this year or received. Let me see if I can, right here. Oh no, just kidding. Just kidding. There's one that tops it, I would have to say, and that's this baby. I just find it so beautiful, and I don't know if you can see because of the lighting, but her eyes are always what drew me to this cover. Are her eyes, and then those white lashes and the hair and everything like goes together, like these blues all match, and then the red and the red match, and then there's like gold. Oh yeah, this gold right here, I don't know if you can see, this gold matches this gold right here, and it's so beautiful. I love this cover. Yeah, this is probably my favorite. Okay, so the next one is what books do you need to read by the end of the year? I haven't set anything for myself that I have to read. I would like to get to Muse of Nightmares. I would like to get to Winter of the Witch. I don't really keep up with like what's coming out. I usually find out about books after they come out. There's nothing right now that I like overwhelmingly want to read or feel like I have to read. Those two probably. Okay, so that's the end of my tag. I know I basically only talked about 3 different books. I'm sorry for this mediocre content that you did not sign up for. But I will see you back next video. Thanks for having me. Bye.